Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today we are doing my Q3 reading check-in. I did one of these for Q1 where I just wrapped up what my best and worst books of the year so far were, gave you guys some stats because you know I'm a stats girly, and we got into like check-ins on my reading trends and the goals that I set for myself for 2025. So we are just going to be doing the exact same thing as that for Q3. I also did my like mid-year book freakout tag, which like every booktuber ever does, that is kind of similar to this video. That was kind of standing in the place of my Q2 check-in, but I'm excited to get back to like my little formats and my little stats because I just think it's so cute and fun. So let's go ahead and dive in. So far in 2025, I have read 120 books. I've actually read a few more than that, but I cut this off right at the Q3 marker. And that was a total of 38,448 pages, which is quite crazy. It seems like on average each quarter I'm able to read 40 books. So I'm estimating that I'm gonna end the year around 160, which is gonna be the lowest amount of books that I have ever read in the past 5 years in a year. Usually I am up above the 200 mark. I think last year was like 180. So 160, it's not that dramatic of a drop. Like clearly I'm still reading a lot of books, but I definitely see the effect of me reading slower and more intentionally, which are two of my reading goals for 2025. I definitely have seen that I've stuck to that and I've enjoyed my reading more because of it. I talked a little bit more about that in my Q1 update. I'm happy to report that has fully followed me all the way into Q3. I loved it so much. Just slowing down, being more intentional. I've read less books, but I've enjoyed books better overall. And we can see that by the average rating across all 120 books that I've read this year. I have an average rating of 3.95, which is so crazy high. This is the highest my average rating has been in 5 years as well. And if we break that down a little further, we can see by star rating how many books I've read. 5 stars, I've read 24 5-star books this year. 4 stars, and this is a range from everything that I've rated 4 stars to 4.75 stars because I do half and quarter ratings. I've read 60 books that I've rated in the 4-star range. I've read 21 books that I rated in the 3-star range, and I've read 12 books that I've given 1 or 2 stars. I feel like that's really ideal. You know, you don't want too many 5-star books giving you a book hangover, but you don't want any like average or shitty books. And I feel like the majority of what I read being in the 4-star range is a huge success. And again, a huge testament to my intentions that I set at the beginning of 2025. Engage with what I'm reading, go slower, not think about just reading book after book after book, but really focusing on me as a mood reader and what I'm enjoying and what's resonating with me and maybe the things that I need to read at the current moment rather than just what other people are picking up. Getting into genre, here is my genre breakdown of the 120 books that I've read so far this year. I've read 63 thrillers, 32 horror, 14 romance, and 11 fantasy. Obviously, I've also read nonfiction and literary fiction sprinkled through there, but these are my top 4 genres. In my Q1 update, I also let y'all know about my top 3 most read authors of the year so far. And those 3 authors are completely different now that we've gotten to Q3. I've definitely had time to hyperfixate on authors now at this point in the year. My top author that I've read the most from in 2025 is Chevy Stevens. I've read 4 of her books this year. I totally got obsessed with her after doing my taste test video. If you missed that reading vlog where I tried out a couple of her books, a backlist title, and her newest release that just came out this year, I will link that vlog up above and down below. I had an amazing time with that taste test. I really love everything that I read from her. I actually just read yesterday her book Dark Roads. Didn't enjoy that one as much as her others, I'll be honest. I'm gonna save my full thoughts for the wrap up, but yeah, I really enjoy reading her thrillers regardless if I like the outcome of them or not, because I just just fall in love with her characters, her writing style. She is unflinching. She goes to really dark places with her twists and with her plots. And then the other two most read authors from 2025 so far are also thriller authors, and I've read 3 books from each of them. The first one is Mary Kubica, which obviously I did my full Mary Kubica backlist rating and ranking video, so I finished off reading every single book that she's ever written this year, which was a huge accomplishment for me, and I was so happy to make that video. Again, I'll link it up above and down below if you want to see that. She's another thriller author that I've been kind of like mixed on. She's hit or miss, but I was happy just to give my definitive opinion on all of her books. And then coming in at 3rd place, I have Liv Constantine. This is an author duo, and they're one of my favorite thriller author duos and just thriller authors in general. They wrote one of my favorite books ever, which is The Last Mrs. Parrish, and I've read 3 by them this year because I read their new release. And then I also have been keeping up with their Parrish series novellas that have been like expanding the universe around my favorite book and the different characters, going down little rabbit holes with them. I really, really love those. As far as reading trends that I noticed in myself in Q3, I definitely noticed slumpiness. I have been feeling so slumpy, especially in the month of September. I only read 6 books. I don't think there's been a month, again, in the past 5 years that I've only read 6 books. That was dramatic. Now, I did really have my heart completely broken and shattered in the month of September, like right at the top. So that kind of just set me up for a shitty month. But yeah, I've been super, super slumpy. Even before that, in August, I was feeling a little bit slumpy. I feel like I was getting in a place where I wasn't really enjoying everything that I was reading, which, you know, I can't expect to enjoy everything that I read, but I usually enjoy at least the experience of reading, even if the book isn't gonna be a 4 or 5 star. And I definitely felt some of that like fatigue coming up halfway through August. I think I was just overwhelmed by travel plans, and I'm like managing stuff in my businesses right now, and then obviously my relationships. It's just been a lot. So I've sensed my reading slowing down, feeling slumpy, and honestly the only thing that pulled me out of that was coming back to the intentions that I set for 2025 for my reading, like mood reading, like knowing that I'm a seasonal reader. So if I'm feeling stuck, I can read something that feels like it matches the season around me, the time of year, the place that I live in, etc. And that will help me get back on track. And it definitely did. I did a reading vlog. Oh my gosh, I guess I'm just gonna be linking everything. I will link my reading vlog that helped me get out of a slump. I really, really liked making that. There was no set TBR or anything. I was just mood reading until I got out of my slump, and I definitely did. It ended with a 5-star read that is one of my favorites of the year so far. So go watch that if you haven't. But yeah, those are the trends that I've been noticing. I've also noticed a little bit of a trend towards lesser known books, especially the latter half of this year. I have completely stopped following the hype train. I'm sure you guys have noticed some of my favorite videos to film and some of y'all's favorite videos to watch from me are my new release thriller vlogs, and I haven't come out with those in a few months now because I've just stopped reading brand new books. It's more important to me to mood read, to read what's on my physical TBR, etc., than to keep up with every single new release. And when I read just kind of what I want, I feel like I find a lot of hidden gems, and I have better recommendations to share with you guys, because I'm not just recommending what every other person is reading, liking, and recommending around me. I want to be not like other booktubers, okay? I do have a little bit of a Feyre syndrome where I want to be a little unique. I want to find the underground books. Y'all can listen to what's on the Spotify, like top 40, whatever. I am going to be over here listening to a little bit something more underground. I'm kind of doing a bit right now, but I also kind of like to do that with my books as well. And I'm not gonna gatekeep. Like when I find a hidden gem, a trust, I'm gonna share it with you guys. I actually am planning a hidden gem recommendation video right now to share with you guys in the next month or so. So I would say I am definitely sticking to the goals that I set out for myself at the top of the year to be slower, more intentional, and hopefully enjoy what I'm reading more if I stick to my mood reading, seasonal reading ass self. It's going well and it's led to some gems. I now want to share with you my worst and best books of Q3 just to wrap it up for you guys. I have a top 3 worst that I would not recommend, and then I have a top 5 best that if you're going to take any recommendations from my reading for the past few months, you should take these. Before we get into the good ones though, let's talk about the ones to avoid. My worst books of Q3 start out with Little Paranoias by Sonora Taylor. This is a little horror story collection that I didn't really enjoy that much. I definitely feel like the marketing was all wrong. Even just the title of the collection was all wrong, because this book is billed as little short horror stories about the everyday little paranoias that creep in the back of your mind. And I thought that was going to be so fun to read at night, like in spooky season as we were getting into fall. I was so excited to read one of these a night and be like, oh my god, like the little things that like I had to walk home in the dark today or something like that. And that's like the first story is like about walking home in the dark, so it kind of sets the stage of like these are things that everyone deals with, are all in our consciousness, little paranoias, etc. No, it was not like that. The first story was like that, and then every subsequent story was like huge apocalyptic celestial type of horror, aliens, things totally out of the realm of what I was imagining. Post-apocalyptic stories, I'm like, how is this a little paranoia? This is big paranoia, okay? If you're dealing with apocalyptic paranoias on the daily, I think you need a sticky sock vacation, and I'm being so for real when I say that. So I just felt like this did not fit the bill. It was really confused, and I also think it's really hard to tell a post-apocalyptic or otherworldly story in just like 5 to 10 to 20 pages. Like these were little short horror stories, so there was not depth or the level of development that the concepts demanded. And the writing style did kind of struggle at points. So overall, not my favorite collection, not one I would recommend. If you're only gonna pick one short story collection of little horror stories to read during spooky season, maybe this is not the best pick for you. I also did not enjoy Hot Air by Marcy Dabrowski. I hope I'm saying her last name right. I'm literally saying it from memory and it could be totally wrong. I just like said some bullshit. Sometimes I don't actually like read words, like I don't actually sound them out. I can just like picture in general like what the word looks like and what the letters were, and then just like blah, comes out of my mouth. So hopefully that was like semi-fine. But anyway, this was a literary fiction book about two people on a first date, and their names start with J, and as they're on this first date, it's like in the guy's backyard. He's like cooking out for them by his pool. They're eating, they're having a good time together, and then boom, out of nowhere, someone's hot air balloon crashes into the pool. And instead of being like, oh my god, these two people, let's rescue them and take them to the hospital, these two that crash in the hot air balloon just end up joining in on the first date, and their names also start with J, and everyone in this book has a J name, and it's really confusing and it's really unsettling and weird, and all the characters are very unlikable. And I know you might be hearing this thinking, but Haley, you love weird literary fiction where all the characters are unlikable. And I do, but there was just nothing redeeming about this book. Like usually when there's a hateable character in a book, it's because they're gonna have some kind of arc, or it's making room for some kind of commentary, and it's gonna mean something. At the end of the day, this book literally meant nothing to me. If it was trying to say anything, it didn't land with me. I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't really entertained. I thought a lot of it was dumb, and I don't really recommend it, unfortunately. But the worst book that I read in Q3 by far was When the Lights Go Out by Mary Kubica. This is a thriller about a woman who's trying to bounce back after her mother's passing, but when her mother dies and she tries to collect on like her inheritance and handle all her mother's affairs, she finds out that she was not her mother's biological daughter, and so she starts going on this journey to figure out who she actually is. I thought it was going to be similar to something like The Truth About Melody Brown by Lisa Jewell, and I love that book. I gave it 5 stars. However, the twist at the end of this book completely negated the entire story. It was so annoying. It was like one of those pet peeve twists that just pisses me off. It's never going to work for me, and I thought it was absolutely diabolical and a waste of time, so I gave it 1 star. It's actually the only book that I've given 1 star so far this year because it pissed me off that bad. I do like a lot of books from Mary Kubica. You can see that if you watch my rating and ranking video I have on her, but this one was atrocious. But let's step out of negative Nancy mode, okay? Because I have 5 amazing books to share with you. All of these are my top 5-star favorites from Q3. We will start out with Open Wide by Jessica Gross. This one is a weird literary fiction, and it hit right. I read it at the right time. It was the right, everything was just aligning. I was reading this and highlighting the words down on my Kindle. I literally could not put it down. It was so good. It's about a girl who feels like kind of lonely. She's dealing with some attachment issues. She has a weird relationship with her dog that's a little bit uncomfortable, and she ends up meeting this guy and getting involved with him, and we kind of watch her try to discover what a healthy relationship is, because how she's defined relationships in the past is not the healthiest. So she's just kind of like awkwardly stumbling through, and it's kind of funny and it's kind of dark as she muddles through her attachment shit in the early stages of this relationship. The main crux of the book, though, is she has this deep desire to be so close with her partner that she wants to climb inside his skin, and there's heavy body horror in the latter half of this book because she does end up finding a way to do that, and that is what the book is about crawling inside your partner. What if you could violate them in that way, and what if they could do the same to you? Is it healthy? Do we really want that? It examines a lot of those questions. There's a lot of meaning in here, but it doesn't feel heavy. It's easy to read. It's funny. The characters are interesting. I was just locked in the whole time I was reading this book, and I read it in a slump. So you know it's that good. Amazing. I can't believe I haven't heard more people talk about it. If you're a lit fic girly or a body horror girly, read it now. Next up, I have a backlist thriller that's made it onto my favorites of 2025, and that is Those Girls by Chevy Stevens. Just talked about Miss Chevy Stevens earlier. As you can see, I'm loving her because this is one of my best of the year. Those Girls follows 3 sisters, and they've had like a really rough upbringing, a really rough go of it. One night they end up escaping their abusive father altogether, and they're on the run, and we're following them thinking it's gonna be like freedom, and then they end up landing themselves in an even worse situation than they were originally in with their father, and we just see them overcome trauma after trauma after trauma. It is so dark, it is so twisted, horrifying, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's about resilience and sister relationships and how women bring each other up, even though all 3 sisters operate in very drastically different ways. They all have different ways of coping. It's so interesting to see and compare that, and also the plot is just great. It's a wonderful thriller plot. It's twisty, it's insane, engrossed from page 1. I could not put it down. It reminded me a lot of Pretty Girls, one of my favorite books of all time. Has similar themes, similar levels of darkness and twistiness. I'm just obsessed with this. I can't believe it was sitting on my shelves for so long and went unread, but I'm glad I finally read it and recognized how much I love Chevy Stevens this year. Next up, we got a weird one. Okay, I would never ever in a million years guess that this would be on my top of the year that I'm talking about here, but she caught me by surprise. It's a YA dystopian, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This was a Hunger Games prequel. Okay, what? I haven't read Hunger Games since I was a literal child. Well, I read Songbirds and Snakes like a couple years ago when it came out, but I wasn't even sure that I was gonna read this because I didn't feel crazy obsessed with Songbirds and Snakes. I am so glad that I picked up this motherfucking book. It was so good. It develops Haymitch's character in a way that makes everything make sense. This was the missing piece, the missing puzzle piece of the Hunger Games original trilogy that I needed. If you don't know, Haymitch is Katniss Everdeen's like mentor when she first goes on her games. He is the only other tribute from District 12 that's ever won. And I know when this book came out, a lot of people were like, okay, but we already know what's gonna happen because we know that Haymitch wins the games. We know that it's a quarter quell. Like, we pretty much know what happens in Haymitch's games. Why is the book necessary? And the answer is character development. This is one of the strongest character arcs I've ever read. It was so satisfying to understand Haymitch, but also so heartbreaking to see what he has gone through to make him the way that he is. I just got my heart completely torn out and stomped on. I've not felt so emotionally connected to a story in so long. I'm obsessed with it. I'm literally going to be weeping in the movie theater when the movie comes out because I'm obsessed. Like, this is literally one of the best books that I've read this year, and I'm not even a YA reader like that. It's that good. Also, this book is for yearners, okay? If you're a yearner, if you clock into the yearning factory every morning and you don't ever clock out, this is for you. Because Haymitch, he was a yearner as well. Before he became what he was in the original Hunger Games trilogy, he was the original yearner. I respect him, I love him, and I want more Haymitch content forever. We actually have another literary fiction here, but it is quite dark. There are a lot of trigger warnings for this book. There's intense mental health representation in this book for depression and suicidal ideation, so be careful going into this one, but if you feel like you can handle it, it is truly phenomenal. Obviously, it's one of my top 5 of Q3 and of the year. This book is following a woman who goes to a hotel basically to end her life. She knows that she is checking in and she is not checking out. She's gonna go to this luxury hotel room and end it until she shows up, and she's not even supposed to have been able to book this room because a wedding has taken over this luxury hotel, and the bride confronts our main character and basically tells her, if you try to kill yourself on my big day and you taint everything for me, you're gonna be cursed for all time. The bride character is such a bridezilla. She's so funny, but it's so crazy how her brashness and her flaws are exactly what our main character needs to bring her out of her shell and help her experience a new zest for life. This book made me cry so many times. It's so character driven, it's so beautifully written. The atmosphere is wonderful. It's so deeply meaningful. So many times reading this book where I just like would put it down and like have to stare at the wall and think about what I just read, because it was that good, that poignant, that well written. It is just amazing. The way that it talks about suicidality, depression, mental health, it talks about it in a way that feels real. I spoke about this book with one of my best friends after we both finished reading it, and we agreed the main character of this book is one of the most real, genuine feeling characters we've ever read from. I feel like anyone can relate to this if you've been in that dark place, and I think we all have. So I highly, highly recommend The Wedding People. If you can handle it, it's really, really well done. And to round out my top 5 of Q3, I have my favorite thriller that I've read of Q3, which is We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. This actually is a new release. It did come out just recently, a couple months ago, and I am so glad that I picked it up. It has the perfect gothic vibes. We are following a woman who's been through just a bout, okay? She's had a bad run of it. And so her husband is like, don't worry, queen, we're gonna help you get away and like recover. I bought you this old manor home in rural New York. And she's like, girl, like, I'm a New York City girl. I don't know if I'm gonna be down for this. Also, this place is definitely haunted as fuck. But she lives there regardless, kind of to try to please her husband, and increasingly weird things start happening around the house. We think that the house might be haunted, but when she discovers some writings about the house, there are other layers to be uncovered. This is not your typical haunting. This book was so meaningful. Like, the commentary, the metaphor behind the whole haunted house bit is so much more than what it typically is in this kind of a setup. I loved the main character. I loved the writing style. The atmosphere was phenomenal. It sucked me in from page 1. It had the crazy Sarah Pinborough twist at the end that I was looking for. And like I said about like the metaphor of it all, there's this like Edgar Allan Poe-esque raven metaphor that carries throughout the whole book, and the way that it comes to a head is just phenomenal. It's poetic, but it's also thrilling. It's easy to read, but it's also meaningful. Like, it's just all the things that I want in a book with the perfect commentary that I needed to hear at the time that I read it. So those are all of the top 5 that I really, really highly recommend from my Q3 reading. This has been my little update. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know how many books you've read this year so far down below in the comments. Let's chat. Let me know your favorite book that you've read so far this year, your favorite book from Q3, your least favorite. I don't care. I just want to chat with y'all. And if you don't want to chat but you want to do something, you can leave me a little leaf emoji down below because it's fall and I love it here. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and hanging out with me today. Don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!